Google is sharing its omniscient knowledge of nearly every human on the planet with the government. I'm Dr. Catherine Albrecht, and I'll have spooky details on how Google is becoming the new global cyber cop in a moment.
Privacy is under attack. When you give up data about yourself, you'll never get it back again. And once your privacy is gone, you'll find your freedoms will start to vanish too. So protect your rights, say no to surveillance, and keep your information to yourself. Privacy, it's worth hanging on to. This message is brought to you by StartPage.com, the private search engine alternative to Google, Yahoo, and Bing. Start over with StartPage.
Are you feeling lucky, punk? I wonder if Clint Eastwood uses Google, because they're using their search engine data to hunt down anyone the government thinks is a bad guy. Yep, Google Ideas, Google's think tank, is working with the Council on Foreign Relations, the DEA, and the Department of Defense, plus some UN agencies, to hunt people down in cyberspace. But putting big Google on the beat makes me nervous. If you search with Google, they know everything about your political views, medical issues, personal interests, and more. To avoid the piercing gaze of Big Brother, make the switch to StartPage.com. Add it to your browser and make it your homepage today. I'm Dr. Catherine Albrecht for StartPage.com, the world's most private search engine. In a recession, tightening your belt is usually a good thing, but ladies, be advised. A new study finds men actually prefer larger women during stressful times. I'm Dr. Catherine Albrecht, and I'll tell you why that is in a moment.
Privacy is under attack. When you give up data about yourself, you'll never get it back again. And once your privacy is gone, you'll find your freedoms will start to vanish too. So protect your rights, say no to surveillance, and keep your information to yourself. Privacy, it's worth hanging on to. This message is brought to you by StartPage.com, the private search engine alternative to Google, Yahoo, and Bing. Start over with StartPage.
Men are said to prefer slimmer women because they appear younger and more fertile. But a new study finds that during hard times, men are more attracted to ladies with larger waistlines. British researchers split 80 volunteers into two groups. Half were exposed to stress through mock job interviews and mental math tests. Later, both groups studied pictures of women. The men in the stressed group consistently found normal and overweight women more physically attractive than the more laid-back guys. The researchers' conclusion? Men view robust females as more mature and better equipped to cope with rough situations. In tough times, maybe size really does matter. I'm Dr. Catherine Albrecht for StartPage.com, the world's most private search engine.
You gonna do? Yeah. Bad boys, what you gonna do? What you gonna do when they come for you? Bad boys, what you gonna do? What you gonna do when they come for you? When you were 8 and you had bad traits, you go to school and learn the golden rule. So why are you acting like a bloody fool? If you get hot, then you must get cool. Bad boys, what you gonna do?
All right, folks, good evening. This is Rule of Law Radio. This is our Thursday night show with Randy and Deborah and Eddie. We are here to talk tonight about whatever comes across our plate. But I would like to start the evening off, since it is September 13th, 2012. All we need is for this to be Friday to be a perfect day. I spent the first half of my day in the little town of Rockdale, Texas, where I was assisting someone with a case. And they had the utter fortune to appear in front of one of Texas' greatest idiot judges named Jerry Wagner. Now, this municipal court judge not only obviously does not understand the law when it's put in front of him, but is willing to admit to criminal activity in his pursuit of convictions in his traffic court. Here's kind of how the day went. The individual was sent a letter telling them to appear for a pretrial hearing in the Rockdale Municipal Court. The pretrial hearing consisted, of course, of nothing more than meeting with the prosecutor to attempt to cut a deal. While we were there, the prosecutor admitted that she had never even seen the 4 motions that had been filed in this individual's case. To top that off, not only did the prosecutor admit they'd never seen them, when she took them out to the judge to have the judge actually read them, the judge went through one but ignored the other 3. And then proceeded to tell the prosecutor, like, I've seen these before. I've already ruled on these. And, of course, the person I was helping objected and said, well, when did you rule on these? And he said, well, whenever you filed them, whenever you were here before. Well, we hadn't seen a judge when we were there before. We filed these with the clerk and we had left. So what this judge was admitting to on our little tape recording was that he had been conducting ex parte proceedings for the purpose of hearing these motions and denying them. And then no notice was ever served on this individual regarding this hearing or the determination made on the motions. So basically we showed up at this pretrial with nobody having done their job at all. And once they were tasked with having to do their job, either lying about it outright and ignoring the law as it's written for the case specifically. Now, the paperwork filed in this case went specifically to the issues of lack of notice and therefore lack of jurisdiction. The judge and the prosecutor both chose to ignore the obvious failings of the lack of notice, even though we had the entire motion written out, a copy of the page of the book of the Code of Criminal Procedure for 45.018B, and the actual book it was copied from, so that we could hand a copy to each of them, and they both refused to look at the law. They were going to do what they wanted, no matter what the law said. So, my first order of business, now that we're back, is me and the individual in question will be filing judicial conduct complaints and bar grievances against both the judge and the prosecuting attorney for conspiring to deprive people in that court of their due process rights. Because basically this female city attorney came out and dictated to the judge the course of action she intended to follow in each case as she took them into the back and they negotiated a deal. Then she'd come out, hand the paperwork over to the judge. Judge, this is what we're going to do. They're going to do this in a week and a half, and they're going to pay this if you'll walk her over there and tell her to do it in installments and blah, blah, blah. Basically, the prosecutor was running the court. Now, the judge, he got snotty fast when he was asked the question, when did you hear these? He told the individual I was with, well, lady, I've already looked at these and I've already ruled on these. But he refused to tell us exactly when that had occurred. Now, again, like I said, we never got any notice that these motions had been read, and much less any hearing conducted on them, especially considering that the purpose of a pretrial is to discuss the contents of motions already filed in the case. But that was not done today. Instead, the pretrial was used specifically to deal negotiate. Now, Randy can tell you right up front that there are only a few specific reasons in statute that you are allowed to be summoned to appear in a court of law, and deal cutting is not one of the things on that list. Prosecutor negotiation. Yeah, go ahead, Randy.
Yeah, you'll find all of those in 28.01 Code of Criminal Procedure. And almost all of them go to hearing motions.
Yeah.
You can do it for an arraignment, and the rest are hearing pleas or motions.
So what we're going to do right off the bat, like I say, we're going to judicial conduct complaint and bar grieve both the judge and the attorney, and we are also going to file a motion to disqualify both the judge and the prosecutor for conspiring to deny rights, failing to abide by the laws associated with the duties of their office, and simple, plain old official oppression and official misconduct. So hang in there, folks, as this develops out and we take this case through the course of its proceedings, just like we did with mine. Rockdale's going to become another Texas hotspot for these traffic tickets to be waved through with a please forgive us for bringing you here?
You should consider criminal accusations against both of them.
Going to do that also.
Let me read you 28.01 Code of Criminal Procedure. The court may set any criminal case for a pretrial hearing before it is set for trial upon its merits and direct the defendant and his attorney, if any of record, and the state's attorney to appear before the court at the time and place stated in the court's order for a conference and hearing. The defendant must be present at the arraignment, and his presence is required during any pretrial proceeding. The pretrial proceeding hearing shall be to determine any of the following: arraignment of the defendant, if such be necessary, and appointment of counsel to represent the defendant, if such be necessary. Pleadings of the defendant, special pleas, if any, exceptions to the form or substance of the indictment, motions or continuance either by state or defendant, motions to suppress, motions for change, discovery, entrapment, motions, and appointment of interpreter. And that is it.
Yeah, and they didn't even so much as ask this individual for her plea. They simply said, we're setting you for a jury trial. They never entered a plea. They never asked for a plea. They went straight to jury trial, and yet there was no complaint or information ever filed in this case. And yet, straight to trial they went.
Well, this looks like a really good place for not only a set of criminal accusations for obstruction of justice, extortion, official oppression, conspiracy to commit, and a really nice private attorney general suit.
Yeah, works for me.
Sue the city for all of the monies that they've collected enforcing the traffic code against non-commercial drivers for the last umpteen years.
Well, we've actually talked to our advisor there on that issue, and he is of the opinion that the quo warranto would not actually work for the reason that each of these cases is an individual case when it comes to whether or not you're engaging in the regulable activity. So if you've got something that would show us how we could do that as a quo warranto, Randy, I'd be more than happy to look at it.
No, I wasn't talking quo warranto. Private attorney general, in that they are exercising a consistent set of due process abuses. I'm not specifically going to the right to travel issue. I'm going to the due process issues.
Okay.
Where they force someone to come down to play let's make a deal. That's not something they're authorized to do. When they don't bring them down for a legitimate purpose, but specifically for that purpose to make a deal and no other. And because they know that it costs people more to come down there 4, 5, 6, 7 times than the citation itself, they create a circumstance where an ordinary person has to make a calculation, and the calculation is always against their due process rights.
Yeah.
And that's exactly what a private attorney general suit was designed to remedy, where it's not economically feasible for a single person to sue in this regard because they cannot recover anywhere near the amount of cost that will be involved. However, if they can sue to recover the harm done to everybody, now it becomes worth the suit. So if you sue for 3 times the amount of fees collected in the last 20 years in the traffic court in Rockdale,
20 years,
then you'd, they may object and say, well, we ain't been doing this kind of stuff for 20 years. Well, how many years you been doing it?
Yeah, it'd probably be easier to say since at least the mid-'60s. We're talking 70-plus years.
That's That'd be my opinion, but I don't know how long statute of limitations would let you go back, but you could certainly go back a good ways and let them argue back. So if you argue it down to 1 year, you triple the amount they collected in traffic fees in the last year. That's no small chunk of change.
No, probably not. Not at the rate these people were going through there.
Well,
granted, they're nowhere near as big as Austin. Austin literally has hundreds a day going through it. And this little place had less than half a dozen, or about a half a dozen.
The last time I looked at it was about 10 or 12 years ago, in a small town of Venus, Texas. It's a small town south of Dallas. You can hardly tell it's there. And they collected $2 million a year. They only have one 2-lane road going through their town. That was one that I happened to notice in particular. You can get from the Department of Public Safety, there are reports they produce showing how much each municipality reports to the state each year. And it's astronomical. This traffic, what's the term? Scam produces a tremendous amount of money. I suspect if you look at it closely, it will be the largest unauthorized tax in the history of mankind.
You mean besides the actual income tax?
At least the income tax appears to have some. But the income tax is not necessarily unauthorized. It's just applied incorrectly. You got a good point. This is Randy Kelton, Deborah Stevens, and Greg will be right back.
Thought that I was doing well, but the truth to you I'll tell. MSGs and GMO really ain't the way to go. There's a better way I've seen. It's called tangy tangerine, and we're all drinking tangy tangerine, tangy tangerine, tangy tangerine. We're all drinking tangy tangerine, tangy tangerine, tangy tangerine.
Order Beyond Tangy Tangerine and other great longevity products at LogosRadioNetwork.com by clicking on the Tangy Tangerine banner. Sign up as a preferred customer for wholesale prices or become a distributor and support LogosRadioNetwork.com. So what do you say, Elvis?
Thank you very much.
Are you being harassed by debt collectors with phone calls, letters, or even lawsuits? Stop debt collectors now with the Michael Mirris Proven Method. Michael Mirris has won 6 cases in federal court against debt collectors, and now you can win too. You'll get step-by-step instructions in plain English on how to win in court using federal civil rights statutes, what to do when contacted by phone, mail, or court summons, how to answer letters and phone calls, how to get debt collectors out of your credit report, how to turn the financial tables on them and make them pay you to go away. The Michael Mirris Proven Method is the solution for how to stop debt collectors. Personal consultation is available as well. For more information, please visit ruleoflawradio.com and click on the blue Michael Mirris banner or email michaelmirris@yahoo.com. That's ruleoflawradio.com or email michaelmirras@yahoo.com to learn how to stop debt collectors now.
Look what we got.
We asked the question.
Wonder what they're hiding.
Don't have the answer.
Open up, hiding.
We asked the question.
Look what we got.
And they don't have the answer.
Soap and slip and slide.
Them a talk about issues passy, Lord, how they want we to take it easy. Them a talk we too politically and them getting mad and angry. But them not standing up and fight for the freedom and be free. and they like them love slavery and get handout from the government. We ask the Christian, wonder what they're hiding. Don't have the answer. We ask the Christian, look what we get, and they don't have the answer. Slope and slippery slide. Tyranny, them a tear you, them a tear me, Lord, them a keep the country. Tyranny, them a tear me, them a tear you, and them a take the country. Them don't tear up the Constitution, them rip it in three, then give a damn about it. You know see how this country, how them a lead we, you see. Like we blind and we crazy, them leading with the destruction, you see. Nuclear weapon and big gun, them a point pan the country hard on me. Tyranny, them a tear you, them a tear.
All right, folks, we are back. This is Rule of Law Radio. Okay, Randy, Deborah, do y'all have anything else you want to start talking about, or do y'all want to go ahead and start taking calls?
Well, we've got a couple of callers. Let's go ahead to the callers.
All right. Well, let's begin with Jim in Washington. Jim, what can we do for you?
Hi. I talked to you the other day about a case where I was filming an officer and got tased.
Were you what with an officer and got tased?
I was filming.
Yeah, filming. I remember that one.
I went to arraignment today for the second time, and again, I was not arraigned. I was fully prepared to tell the judge that I could not plea due to lack of subject matter jurisdiction issues. And before I could get up to the table, when my name was called, the prosecuting attorney started talking to the judge about I didn't have an attorney, and he didn't know what was going to go on in that area. He couldn't talk to me about the case because he wasn't my attorney. And the judge asked him if they'd provided me with discovery. And next thing I know, he's ordering the prosecutor to provide me with discovery if I gave him an email address. And they rescheduled another for pretrial readiness court session, and that was my arraignment.
Okay, they can do that. I would say that went seriously in your favor.
I kind of thought so too.
It sounds like the judge is at least not totally corrupt. He's making the prosecutor produce something.
Okay.
We seem to be having that more. I had someone I was hoping would come on today about, they went to a hearing where the court generally just railroads everybody, and it didn't go that way at all. I think we're moving into a time where everybody's getting worried. Well, one thing, we're moving up toward an election period. But did you have discovery filed in the case?
No, I had nothing filed in the case. As far as I know, there is no case. I hadn't received a charging document. I hadn't received information or, indictment.
Have you filed anything in the case?
No, I had not filed anything yet.
Have you filed any complaints against the officers?
I'm working on that. I'm having some issues trying to find. I read your habeas corpus on your website, jurisprudence there, and I'm. It's going to be a long, hard process to translate to Washington law. The laws are different, and they, like you've said many times, I have them hidden all over. So I am having some difficulty getting that accomplished. But that is one of my agendas. Yes.
Well, if you can, I would suggest preparing a statement of facts.
Okay.
And filing it as an affidavit in the court.
Okay.
And that'll get the statement of facts before the judge, at least.
Okay.
But this is kind of strange. The judge, sui sponte, ordered discovery?
I'm not sure what sui sponte means, but I didn't ask for it.
Means on his own?
Yes.
This sounds like the judge smells a rat.
Oh. Okay. But like I say, they never got around to asking me how I pled. They never read the charges. They never asked if I wanted to waive the reading of the charges.
I think they didn't want to. I think the judge smells a rat. Eddie, have you ever heard of a judge sui sponte ordering discovery?
No, that would be a first.
Generally, the judge, you have to twist their arm to get them to authorize discovery. Or they'll authorize discovery if you absolutely demand and insist and jump up and down and rail in righteous indignation, and then they'll do nothing to enforce the discovery. But here we have a judge sui sponte ordering the discovery. I think he's telling the judge he smells a rat. I'm sorry, he's telling the prosecutor that he smells a rat here.
Well, my question...
And he may smell one big enough and bad enough that he sees the possibility of this becoming a political issue for him.
Well, this is...
Get an affidavit in there quickly.
Okay. Stating that I haven't been, or hadn't been...
Get a statement of facts.
Okay.
Explain exactly what your side of the issue is, and ask the judge to make a ruling of no probable cause.
Okay. Yeah, because I still haven't had an examining trial. I haven't been, in for the arraignment. As far as I'm concerned, they never arraigned me, so
And you might consider preparing and filing a criminal affidavit against the officer for aggravated assault.
Okay.
That's going to be in Washington laws, and it's not going to be hard to find.
Right.
And you might look at the whole statute on assault, because in Texas, in our statute on assault, they address the issue of assault by a public official acting under the color of his authority. Eddie, you want to address that one?
Say that one more time.
Assault by a public official acting under color of his authority. Eddie crammed this one down the district attorney for Houston's throat before the legislature when he got up and lied to him about it.
Yeah, they basically there is a whole slew of things that these officers do wrong. The aggravated assault statute, aggravated kidnapping if they remove you from the scene, official oppression, abuse of official capacity. There is no direct official misconduct that I can find in the penal code. What was the other one?
3606 penal code.
Okay, and what was the other one you were looking at, Randy?
Okay, I'm sorry. You said official misconduct.
Yes.
That's 3901. 3606 is obstruction or retaliation. And they both go to essentially the same thing, where if you interfere with, like in this case, he's filming a police officer committing crimes, and he does something, he arrests the person to keep this information he's creating from being used against him. That's obstruction, tampering with a witness. And was it 2204 B2A, Texas Penal Code? If a public official acting under the color of his authority commits an act of assault while displaying a deadly weapon, in Texas, that's a first-degree felony. Now, never been prosecuted. The prosecutors have absolutely refused to enforce that law. But it is certainly there, and I suspect you're going to have something of a similar nature in Washington State.
Oh, I'm sure we will.
So read the assault statute real carefully. Read every word of it.
Okay. Part of my issue is, like, I found the rules of court and all that. They have to have a charging instrument to proceed with court, but it doesn't say that you have to have a...
Okay, let me make a suggestion here. Your liberty's at risk. Back up and look at this. You're not going into court to change how they're doing things. You're going into court to keep out of jail.
Right.
That's a different perspective. So when we come back on the other side, we'll talk a little bit about the politics of the situation and some things you should be doing to give the court a reason and the prosecutor a reason to make this thing go away before it gets any worse. This is Randy Kelton, Deborah Stevens, Eddie Craig, Rule of Law Radio. Call-in number 512-646-1984. We'll be right back.
A Noble Lie, Oklahoma City, 1995, will change forever the way you look at the true nature of terrorism.
Based on the damage pattern to the building, what the government says is impossible.
The grand jury did not want to hear anything I had to say.
The decision was made not to pursue any more of those individuals.
Some of these columns were ripped up, shredded, tossed around.
The people that did the things they did knew doggone well what they were doing.
Expose the cover-up now at anoblelie.com.
HempUSA.org has moved and expanded its operations for faster worldwide shipping. Our product line has grown from 5 to nearly 100 items in less than 5 years. Our food has grown naturally, always chemical-free, not found in stores. Great for daily intake and perfect for your emergency storage shelter. Call 908-691-2608 or visit HempUSA.org and see what our powders, seeds, and oil can do for you.
It is so enlightening to listen to 90.1 FM, but finding things on the internet isn't so easy, and neither is finding like-minded people to share it with.
Oh, well, I guess you haven't heard of Brave New Books then.
Brave New Books?
Yes, Brave New Books has all the books and DVDs you're looking for by authors like Alex Jones, Ron Paul, and G. Edward Griffin. They even stock Interfood, Berkey products, and Calvin soaps.
There's no way a place like that exists.
Go check it out for yourself. It's downtown at 1904 Guadalupe Street, just south of UT.
By UT, there's never anywhere to park down there.
Actually, they now offer a free hour of parking for paying customers at the 500 MLK parking facility, just behind the bookstore.
It does exist, but when are they open?
Monday through Saturday, 11 a.m. to 9 p.m. and 1 to 6 p.m. on Sundays. So give them a call at 512-480-2503 or check out their events page at bravenewbookstore.com.
Live Free Speech Radio, LogosRadioNetwork.com.
Mr. Officer, you're taking the law in your hand. Won't you follow the law of the land? I don't understand. Your job is to protect and to serve, not beat and abuse. Officer, when you gonna stop abuse your power? 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 So please, Mr. Macklin, teach officers not to abuse their power. Send a request to the leader, the captain of all officers. Tell them to uphold the law and please don't abuse their power. The beat and the beat and the cheat and the cheat and the lie every hour.
Okay, we are back. Randy Kelton, Deborah Stevens, Eddie Craig. We're talking to Jim in Washington. And you have a judge here who apparently hasn't accepted the complaints because he hasn't done anything to move on them. He ordered the prosecutor to produce discovery before he even heard your plea. He smells a rat. So give him some cheese. Write an affidavit. Prepare a complaint against the officer. The next time you go before this judge, lay that complaint in front of the judge in the judge's capacity as a magistrate. That ought to get their attention. That'll give you something, give the prosecutor a reason to want to make this thing go away. Have you talked to an attorney about suing the officers? He could probably talk better if I unmuted him. Sorry, Jim. Somebody left you muted. I'm not going to mute it. I'm not going to mention any names, but his initials are Randy Kelton.
It's okay. It's never happened before, Randy. I did talk to an attorney yesterday about the case, because I don't know if I'm going to have time to, get everything over to Washington law before this is processed. And I really cannot afford to lose this. So
right, you don't want to go to jail. So, no, you don't have to convert. Don't worry about the writ of habeas corpus at this point. Right now, get a complaint in against the officer.
Okay.
Best defense, good offense.
Okay. Well, I don't.
And you might talk to a lawyer about suing them and get the lawyer to make inquiries.
Okay.
They get people coming in saying all the time, "I'm going to sue you." They don't pay attention to that. But when they get an inquiry from a lawyer, they pay attention to that.
Okay. Now, don't I have a good subject matter jurisdiction challenge here?
Yes, you do.
But
right now, you're not going to win the subject matter jurisdiction challenge. Understand the courts are corrupt.
Right.
They're absolutely corrupt. They're going to do what they've been doing. And if you're trying to stay out of jail by telling them that everything they've been doing for the last 20 years is wrong, that's not going to keep you out of jail.
Okay.
What's likely to keep you out of jail is a good political accusation against these guys. Have you looked up Glick?
No, I have not yet.
Okay, look up the Glick case. Deborah, do you have a citation on that one? I guess she's not there, but Glick was a recent case. A lawyer in Boston walking down the street, sees the police beating up a guy, takes out his cell phone and starts filming them with the cell phone, and they arrest him for filming the police. And because there was a statute in Boston that made it illegal to film police, and the courts struck that down and addressed and made the decision wasn't about First Amendment, but they asserted that it was a First Amendment right of the people to film their public officials when they were performing their duty.
Okay, is that Simon?
So this is recently being addressed in two different cases, and the plaintiffs won in both cases. So there's absolutely no doubt you had the right to film him, and if you instead of fighting a defensive posture, if you take on a offensive posture and go after the officer, they know that an action against the officer is going to ultimately be an action against the department. It's going to cost them a whole lot of money. And in the end, it's not about justice. It's not about rule of law. It's about the money. So make it look like it's going to cost them a lot of money. When you go before this judge next time, have a verified criminal affidavit with you with a statement of facts attached to it as an affidavit, also verified.
Okay.
When you go into court next time, tell him you have a document for the court, and the prosecutor's going to ask to see it. Object. This is not his business. This business is between me and the court.
Okay.
That'll get their attention.
All right.
He'll probably send the bailiff to get it because that'll get his attention. And once he looks at it, that invokes his duty as a magistrate. But you don't really care what he does. This is your way of telling the judge there are two sides to this issue, and this issue is likely to grow very large and get very ugly.
Okay.
And you might include in the affidavit a list of known witnesses.
Okay.
Just the ones that you know of, and indicate there are other witnesses not yet located. If you tell the judge, now this is what happened, we got a bunch of witnesses, we're going to clean your plows, he's likely to get the prosecutor and squeeze on him and make this thing go away.
Okay. Do you or Eddie know anybody that does this type of stuff in Washington State that I might be able to reach out to for a little help?
We may have some listeners. I'm thinking back. I had one really good guy in Washington State, but unfortunately he's in jail right now.
Yeah, Meter, or not Meter, but what's his name?
Well, so you're saying he's got plenty of time then?
Yeah, he's got plenty of time. David Merlin.
David Merlin?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
You might look up David Merlin and see if you can. Yes, I know.
It's Merlin, M-Y-L-A-R-N-D. Or L-A-N-D.
Well, I called him Myerland on the show, and he kept saying, Merlin. And on the break, Deborah said, you know you're pronouncing his name wrong. I said, yeah, I know.
Could you respell?
He was really good, but he had a little bit of an arrogant side, and I just kind of did that just to be annoying. But I do have someone. If you will send me an email, he's the guy that got my Skype account hacked. Jack Bauer, B-A-U-R.
B-A.
And he has a regular talk show program. Do you have Skype?
Yes, I do.
Send me look up Rule of Law Radio and send me a Skype link, and I will send you his contact information back to you.
Okay. Thank you very much.
You are most welcome.
Thanks for all.
Okay, now we're going to go to Chris in Texas. Chris, what is up with you today? I think we put Chris to sleep. That's what happens to these guys in Fort Worth. Okay, it looks like we don't have Chris. Okay, I'll mute Chris. Maybe he'll come back. We'll try him again later. Our phone lines are open. Our call-in number, 512-646-1984. I had someone in Colorado that I was hoping would call in. It's kind of on the order of the difference in how the courts are reacting and responding to pro se litigants. We had someone on our Wednesday night show talk about how the courts were dealing with pro se litigants. I forgot exactly where they got all the information, but apparently the courts were very concerned with the dramatic rise in the number of pro se litigants. They are apparently seeing the internet as an incredibly powerful influence. And they were saying this is a serious problem because they really don't have the resources to address all of these pro se litigants. And my comment was, your problem, not our problem. And we had someone who had read an article in the Texas Bar Association magazine that indicated that some 20% of all the cases in Texas were now pro se, and that was because the public simply did not trust lawyers. Lawyers have gotten so corrupt that nobody trusts them. They're not just corrupt, but they're arrogant in their corruption and obvious in their corruption, so nobody wants to pay them anymore. And now, the lawyers can't get work, and the people are representing themselves rather than hire a lawyer, and for the most part, that appears to be a smart move. This is Randy Kelton, Deborah Stevens, Eddie Craig, Rule of Law Radio. Call-in number 512-646-1984. We'll be right back.
The Oklahoma City bombing. Top 10 reasons to question the official story. Reason number 2. Why was the ATF AWOL? Paramedic Tiffany Bible, who was on the scene within 5 minutes, has stated in an affidavit that agents of the Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco, and Firearms told her that they were not in their office that morning. EMT Catherine Mallet also overheard one agent say to another, quote, "Is that why we got the page to not come in today?" End quote. Bruce Shaw, as interviewed on KFOR TV, was also told by ATF agents that they had been paged to not come into work. The ATF initially denied these claims and now variously claim that one of their agents was in a free-falling elevator, which has been disproven, or that they had been in an all-night stakeout, or that they had been at a golf tournament. As they try to sort out their lies, all we want to know is, did the ATF receive a warning? And if so, why did they not pass it on to others in the Murrah building? For more information, go to okcbombingtruth.com.
Are you the plaintiff or defendant in a lawsuit? Win your case without an attorney with Jurisdictionary, the affordable, easy-to-understand 4-CD course that will show you how in 24 hours, step by step. If you have a lawyer, know what your lawyer should be doing. If you don't have a lawyer, know what you should do for yourself. Thousands have won with our step-by-step course, and now you can too. Jurisdictionary was created by a licensed attorney with 22 years of case-winning experience. Even if you're not in a lawsuit, you can learn what everyone should understand about the principles and practices that control our American courts. You'll receive our audio classroom, video seminar, tutorials, forms for civil cases, pro se tactics, and much more. Please visit ruleoflawradio.com and click on the banner or call toll-free 866-LAW-EASY.
Okay, we are back. Randy Kelton, Deborah Stevens, Eddie Craig, Rule of Law Radio. And maybe Chris has woke up. We'll give him a try again. Chris, are you there?
I am here. Sorry about that.
Oh, good. We probably, we figured we put you to sleep last time.
Never.
Okay, what do we have for you, from you today? What do you got for us?
I as you know, let me just catch everyone up here. They started here about 30 days later or so. They came and arrested me, and then there was no charge. Well, there was a charge, but there was no case, no cause number, and we're still at there's no case, no cause number. And I have a plan of action. I just want to kind of verify it with you and see if that's the right direction to go. Have all my criminal complaints ready to go, just about. And I also found today, under the Speedy Trial Act, that if they fail to get an indictment within 30 days after your arrest, that they're not in compliance with the Speedy Trial Act.
Well, unfortunately, 3202A has been repealed.
Has it?
Yes, it has. Not because of the time limits, but because the statute dictated a judicial decision. And that, now that you mentioned it, we're preparing some lobbying efforts for this next Congress, and that's one of the things we need to get reinstated, is the Speedy Trial Act. The Speedy Trial right has not gone away, but the courts treat it as if it no longer exists. You should certainly claim the right and claim those time limits as the traditional definition of speedy trial.
Okay. And, I mean, the what I was going to do is go down, because you said that before they came and arrested me, there should have been a case number or cause number 1, and they still do not have either.
Then apparently no judge issued a warrant. If a judge did issue a warrant, then he didn't make it available for inspection, and that's a criminal act. So now you want to know which judge issued the warrant and then secreted the warrant from you after it had been executed in violation of 15.16 Code of Criminal Procedure, which is an act of official oppression in the state of Texas. So you want to know who that judge is so you can file criminally against that judge. They are not going to want you going after a judge.
Well, in my criminal complaints, I already have 3 different judges that I'll be going after.
Good.
Because the judge that was at the alleged arraignment that never panned out to be an arraignment, in my opinion, because, kind of like that guy we were talking to at the beginning of the show, she never read any charges against me, she just listened to my series of questions, and then it was like she wanted me out of there fast.
So good. She did everything right for you. So that is a very good plan of attack. You go after judges, and they want your issue to go away really fast.
Okay, because I have her lying on a government document in the fact that she states on there that there was an officer there who handed her an affidavit, and she found probable cause. There was not an officer, and there was not a prosecutor present.
Now, wait a minute. There may have been. But that wasn't the hearing you were at.
Ah.
There may have been an examining trial. And if she makes that statement, then you accept her statement to be true. And since that did not occur in front of you, where did that occur? And you can absolutely establish by subpoenaing the last 50 people brought before her in one of these types of hearings, and every one of them will say the same thing. No, there wasn't any officer there. She already had all the paperwork. Because that's what the truth is. So that should work out very well. Except her statement is true. And now you want to know when she held that hearing where that officer came to her and gave her that document.
And
that was ex parte, and that was criminal.
Well, the other thing that struck me as odd is, and I just noticed this in the last few days, is the time that is stamped on it. And it is not the time that should, is under the impression these things are supposed to be recorded. And
yes,
they timestamp.
They are required to keep an electronic recording. And you should ask the jail under discovery to produce the recording of the magistration or whatever that hearing they want to call it was.
Yeah, and they timestamped this supposed arraignment document. It's timestamped at 6:51 p.m. It was 3 a.m.
Ooh, that's interesting. 6:51 the evening before the morning, or 6:51 the evening after the morning?
It was days timestamped it as it was done on the 16th, and it wasn't done until 3 a.m. in the morning on the 17th.
Then that should be establishable because the judge is not going to be there for more than 8 hours. So if you get the schedules of the judges on duty, they're not going to match. But you shouldn't do that. You should get someone else to ask for that information.
Okay.
So that they don't have a clue as to what you're looking for, because these guys will lie and they'll produce false documentation, especially when it looks like you're going after a judge. And they will absolutely falsify documents to cover the judge. So you want someone to go down there and see what magistrates were on duty in this time period and what times they were on duty. And you might have them give them, imply that there's some other issue that has nothing to do with your case that they're concerned with, so they won't know what record to dummy up.
Well, I guess that would help that I've been down there requesting so much different information on so many different things now that I know they're tired of seeing me.
Good.
Especially after,
that doesn't hurt a bit.
Especially after the U.S. Marshal incident, they are really tired of seeing me.
That was a nice move. For those of you, will you kind of explain how that went for those who didn't hear?
That was when I went in there to request the oath of office for the judges, and they told me that absolutely by no means would I get that information that day. And I told the lady, I said, that's so. And just give me a minute and I'll be back. Don't go anywhere. I left, and I went outside, and across the street was City Hall. So I went over to City Hall and walked in there, and there happened to be U.S. Marshals in there. Walked over to that group of U.S. Marshals, and I picked one and just walked up to him and said, I got a question for you. He says, what's that? I said, do you have a duty to arrest someone if they commit a crime in front of you? He said, yes, sir. I said, well, come with me. He said, where are we going? I said, someone's going to commit a crime right in front of you, and I know they are. And then I explained to him and showed him the documents of 27004 of the government code and 552. And he said, and they told you can't have the documents? And I said, yes, they told me that I can't have these documents today. He said, well, let's go over there. Well, he escorted me back into the court over there, to the court clerk's office, and we went up to the window, and he asked me, he said, which one was it? I said, it was this one right here. And he said, go up there and get your documents. So I walked up to the window, and I tell this lady, I said, I pushed my paper back up under there. I said, I need these documents today. And she said, I already told you once that you ain't getting them today, and you need to step in line and wait to be waited on. And that's when he leaned over and told her he needs those documents. And that's when a group of people came out of the back, is when she told us to hang on. There was a group of people came out of the back with her that were all in suits. And she started to tell us that again. And some guy in a suit stepped forward and said, no, give us 10 minutes and we'll have them for you. Well, then he pulled me over to the side, and he said, he said, do you want me to arrest her? And I said, no, I didn't come down here to get anybody arrested. I just want my documents. If they produce them, I don't want you to arrest her.
Amazing.
Did we lose Randy?
We may have. Randy, are you still there?
Oh, yeah. Somebody muted me again. I want to know who that marshal is. I got a lot of work for him. Okay, this is Randy Kelton. Are you done, Chris? Do you have any more for us?
That'll do it. I'll wrap it up and talk to you the next time.
Okay, thank you, Chris. This is Randy Kelton, Deborah Stevens, Eddie Craig, Rule of Law Radio. Our call-in number, 512-646-1984. We'll be right back.
The Bible remains the most popular book in the world, yet countless readers are frustrated because they struggle to understand it. Some new translations try to help by simplifying the text, but in the process can compromise the profound meaning of the Scripture. Enter the Recovery Version. First, this new translation is extremely faithful and accurate, but the real story is the more than 9,000 explanatory footnotes. Difficult and profound passages are opened up in a marvelous way, providing an entrance into the riches of the Word beyond which you've ever experienced before. Bibles for America would like to give you a free recovery version simply for the asking. This comprehensive yet compact study Bible is yours just by calling us toll-free at 1-888-551-0102 or by ordering online at freestudybible.com. That's freestudybible.com.
You're listening to the Logos Radio Network at logosradionetwork.com.
As if your kids needed another reason to brush their teeth, here's one more. A plastic chemical used in fillings could cause small but long-term changes in children's behavior. I'm Dr. Catherine Albrecht, back with details in a moment.
Privacy is under attack. When you give up data about yourself, you'll never get it back again. And once your privacy is gone, you'll find your freedoms will start to vanish too. So protect your rights, say no to surveillance, and keep your information to yourself. Privacy, it's worth hanging on to. This message is brought to you by StartPage.com, the private search engine alternative to Google, Yahoo, and Bing. Start over with StartPage.
Here's some not-so-smiley news for kids with cavities. A plastic resin in dental fillings has been linked to behavioral changes and making youngsters more antisocial. Bisphenol A, or BPA, is the mainstay for treating cavities as an alternative to amalgam, which contains mercury. But a 5-year study of more than 500 children found kids with BPA fillings scored worse when asked if they had trouble making friends or felt anxious or depressed. The study didn't prove BPA caused the behavioral shift, the authors noted, but previous research has linked BPA exposure to hyperactivity and aggressive behavior in young children. I'm Dr. Catherine Albrecht for StartPage.com, the world's most private search engine. Eating grilled food and too much red meat raises your cancer risk, but there's a way your barbecue can actually help you prevent cancer. I'm Dr. Catherine Albrecht, and I'll give you some safer grilling tips to make your cookouts tasty and healthy next.
Privacy is under attack. When you give up data about yourself, you'll never get it back again. And once your privacy is gone, you'll find your freedoms will start to vanish too. So protect your rights, say no to surveillance, and keep your information to yourself. Privacy, it's worth hanging on to. This message is brought to you by StartPage.com, the private search engine alternative to Google, Yahoo, and Bing. Start over with StartPage.
A slab of juicy meat, a flaming fire, the smell of sizzling fat. Barbecues are one of the joys of summer. Sadly, they also raise your cancer risk, but a few simple changes at a cookout can help prevent cancer. First, beware of burn. Charring beef creates HCAs and other cancer-causing agents. Also, marinate your beef with vinegar or lemon juice to add flavor and avoid charring. Brush veggies with olive oil and choose onions, mushrooms, asparagus, and zucchini that pack cancer-fighting phytochemicals. And finally, add some fish to your repertoire. It'll keep your stomach and your heart happy. I'm Dr. Catherine Albrecht for StartPage.com, the world's most private search engine.
Looking for some truth? You found it. LogosRadioNetwork.com.
Down Babylon and burn down the whole nation. But them operate the land wrong. I'm gonna say Republican and them a scratch man. Tell them I'm a libertarian. Them say we born to lose, but we born to win. Come rock on.
Chant love rule this time.
How what we say?
Chant for our wars to see.
Me tell them.
Chant down Babylon. Chant down Babylon. Chant for justice and
always man.
Chant love rule this chant love chant for our words to chant for our words.
All of them when me chant, when me see, say all man was created equally. Chant down Babylon and do it daily. And when
okay, we are back. Randy Kelton, Deborah Stevens, Eddie Craig, Rule of Law Radio. And we're taking your calls. We're going to go to Ramon in Texas. Ramon, what do you have for us tonight? Hello, Ramon. Okay, it looks like we lost Ramon. Okay, we're going to go to... We had another caller that just dropped off the board.
Hello.
Hello.
Hey, Randy, can you hear me?
Is this Ramon?
Yeah.
Why have you muted? Okay, somebody unmuted you. Okay, good.
Okay, great.
We've been putting people to sleep tonight.
What's that?
I said I've been putting people to sleep tonight.
Oh, no, let's not do that. Listen, I had just wanted to share some interesting information with you because of my, should I say, being a student of your leadership, or should I say, how you're
his tutelage,
the public about the Texas state laws and statutes, and as well as the federal laws. I just wanted to kind of give you some recent, share with you something that recently happened to me. I recently had my insurance agency give me some trouble with regards to some rates, and they were hiking up my rates, and I went and searched the Texas laws and statutes about that, and realized that they were in violation of the Texas laws. So I sent them a letter pointing out that the charges they were saying that I owed them are not valid because I'd actually paid the premiums, but I did not pay their late fees, right? But according to Texas law, late fees are not premiums. And so I sent them this letter, and they went back and they removed all the fees, and everything's back to normal. Everything's current. Everything's active. Everything's zero balance. And I was just amazed because, I just basically used the Texas law and pressed that issue, and I pointed it out to them, and I sent them documents, and hey, the truth speaks. And they overnight switched everything for me. Prior to that, they were saying, look, you owe us double the amount, and if you don't, we're cutting you off. So,
they probably were well aware of what they were doing was improper, but they do a calculation. They're just stealing what they can. And if they get caught, they say, oh, okay, we'll stop stealing from you. And then we'll go back to stealing from everybody else. You might prepare and file a complaint with whatever the regulatory board for this company is, because their quick capitulation indicates full knowledge of the impropriety of the charges they're filing. If you can get the insurance board to take a look at it, the insurance board has an option or an opportunity to make a lot of money from the insurance company in fines against them.
Well, even upon my findings, I even sent them in writing saying, look, if I don't have a change, if you basically don't rescind these charges within 10 days by a certain period, by a certain date, I'm going to file criminal charges, because you basically are not just violating my civil rights, but you're violating the Texas laws according to the insurance code, right?
That's probably why they ran backwards so quickly. People tend to be, it seems like folks are getting more concerned right now. The system's changing. We're in a period of flux. We're in a period where the economy's not good, the public's not happy, and these insurance companies almost certainly understand that those people in positions of political power respond to their money when it's convenient for them to do so. But when it's not convenient for them, they'll throw these guys to the wolves in a heartbeat. And right now the public is unhappy. We just had someone in Colorado go to a 120 hearing. That's a eviction hearing. And generally, the judges just ignore everything the pro se says and just tosses them. This one, they went into the 120 hearing, and apparently the judge raked the lawyers on the other side over the coals, accused the lawyers of falsifying their testimony to the court, and demanded that the lawyers, I'm sorry about that, demanded that the lawyers get proof of their position.
After you?
Pardon me?
Are they coming after you?
Oh, no. This is someone I'm helping with the. Oh, you mean there's the sirens?
Exactly.
No, I'm in Wise County, and the sheriff has a standing order that they're not to stop me, they're not to cite me, and whatever they do, don't put that SOB in my jail. So I'm not too concerned about that here. But in this, the judge was totally on their side, and the judge made a comment. Here's the Skype I got. The judge also mentioned a case where the clerk had been arrested or threatened to be arrested for screwing up. I really think he knows and was talking about you. He looked at me and said, by our motions, it looks like Mr. G is aware of the case and the cases that pertain to this foreclosure mess. I need to... and he suggested to come on the radio to talk about it, but he's too busy milking his goats. I get preempted for a bunch of goats. And that's in Colorado. So they're getting a lot more sensitive, and we're getting more people who are in the foreclosure area who are more inclined to start filing criminal actions against these guys. I think it's time we started doing that. We will make serious change with what I'm doing, with what little I'm doing. Everybody, it seems, is aware of what we're doing here, because I have a property I picked up in Frisco, Texas, and the homeowners association came by and told the guy I have staying there that we're behind on the homeowners association dues, and he said, well, I don't own the place. You'll have to talk to Randall Kelton about it. He owns the place, but you might want to be real careful about what you do with him. And the guy said, oh, yeah, our lawyer knew about him, so I Googled him. I'll be real careful. When you start kicking him in the teeth, it gets around. So it won't take a whole lot of people coming after these guys that we can make a change.
It takes about 10%.
I'm going to bet it doesn't take anywhere near that. In normal circumstances, it might take 10%, but when you're threatening someone with criminal prosecution, that really gets their attention, and everybody hears about it. The prosecutor here in Wise County says every time he goes to a training seminar and they find out he's from Wise County, all he does is get to talk about me and what I've been doing up here and who I am, because they're all worried about me. And I'm just one guy. If we had one in every county, these guys would be changing what they're doing. It wouldn't take 10%.
Yeah.
You have a good shot at the insurance companies. How many people do you think they're doing this to?
Everybody. And how many people are using the law to basically put them in their place? Zero, right? So here's the...
Well, look at a private attorney general suit.
Right. So I put them on notice for myself, right? And then I said, and I forgot to mention this to you earlier. I forgot to mention to this earlier that it's... So then I said the attorney general will be involved, and if that's not enough, I will personally press criminal charges. And that's where, I think that's all three of those.
Yeah, and the fact that they capitulated quickly would give you grounds to go back with a private attorney general suit. And that would absolutely be a hoot. Be a great legal education. And you might save a lot of people who are struggling right now from being robbed by these crooked insurance companies. You might come out with quite a bit of money just to get you to go away. At least it's a thought. Did we lose you?
No.
Okay. Okay, do you have anything else for us?
No, that's it. That's it.
Okay, thank you, Chris, but consider that and kind of keep us posted on what you do. Chris, Ramon, I forgot who I'm talking to.
Oh, okay.
Okay. Thank you, Ramon. We're going to go now to Dean in Wisconsin.
Yeah.
Hello, Dean. What do you have for us today?
Well, I called Monday, and I'm new to the program, but just listening to you, we have a concealed carry law. Does that mean anything, or does that should I have that in awareness if I'm getting pulled over just because I am carrying? Should I submit to?
No, okay. You don't waive any rights if you have a concealed carry, but if you are armed, you have to keep in mind that you're dealing with a police officer who has been taught to consider the public as a deadly enemy. They've been taught to be absolutely terrified of you. So you might want to let them know ahead of time, and we will explain what you should do when we come back on the other side. This is Randy Kelton, Deborah Stevens, Eddie Craig, Rule of Law Radio. Our call-in number 512-646-1984. We'll be right back.
At Capital Coin and Bullion, our mission is to be your preferred shopping destination by delivering excellent customer service and outstanding value at an affordable price. Capital Coin features a great selection of high-quality coins and precious metals. In addition to providing the best prices in the nation, we want to bring you the best shopping experience both in-store and online. In addition to coins and bullion, we carry popular longevity products such as Beyond Tangy Tangerine and Pollen Burst. We offer freeze-dried storable foods by Augustin Farms, Berkey Water Products, ammunition at 10% above wholesale, and more. You can lock in a spot price with our silver pool, and we set up metals IRA accounts. Call us at 512-646-6440 for more details. We're located at 7304 Burnett Road, Suite A, about a half mile south of Anderson. We're open Monday through Friday 10 to 6, Saturdays 10 to 2. Visit us at capitalcoinandbullion.com or call 512-646-6440.
Hey, tangy tangerine, see what you've done to me. I'm losing weight and I'm not half the man I used to be. Hey, tangy tangerine, you make me feel so good. I don't eat so much food. Ain't I a sight compared to what I used to be? Calcium, magnesium, selenium, and zinc. Take a moment now and think. If you have a little drink, every day will bring the life that you've been looking for.
Beyond Tangy Tangerine is available at Brave New Books, located at 1904 Guadalupe Street. The bookstore also carries the works of Dr. Joel Wallach, founder of Longevity and creator of Beyond Tangy Tangerine.
Ain't gonna blind me. Don't bore me. Well, ain't gonna fool me with that same old trick again. I was blindsided
money from my ass.
Okay, we are back. Randy Kelton, Deborah Stevens, Eddie Craig, Rule of Radio. And we're talking to Dean in Washington. Okay, Dean, we're talking about concealed carry. The police are being taught to be terrified of the public. And for the most part, they're hyped up on steroids. And frankly, I get worried about them. If you don't let them know well in advance that you have a weapon, if they discover it, they're likely to go ballistic. Deborah, you've talked about this before. Will you kind of explain the regular procedure for that?
Okay, well, I don't know about ballistic. I do know that in the state of, in different states, it's different. In the state of Texas, our right to carry firearms in the car while traveling is not only a right, which it is a right everywhere, but it is actually an enumerated right. It's in statute that in your car that you can have a firearm, a pistol, a handgun, concealed. And in fact, they require you to conceal it. That means in the glove box or under your seat, or you could have it on your person, in your pocket, whatever, inside, in a little holster under your jacket. You can have it on your body, on your person, or somewhere in the car, concealed and loaded, all right, without a license while you're in the car. Now this is for everyone. Now, if you get pulled over and you do not have a handgun license, a concealed carry license, and you have a handgun on you, you are by no means required to tell that officer that you have a handgun. Number one, the officer doesn't have a right to search you anyway without probable cause, so it's none of his beeswax whether you have a handgun or not. All right? So, personally, if it were me, I would never offer up the information. I would make it very clear, number one, right off the bat, that I'm not in commerce, and Eddie's already gone through this whole spiel about how you handle a situation like that. And if they want to search the car, I would definitely not give them permission, and I would object strongly, et cetera, et cetera. And if they find the handgun, well, come what may. All right, I'm not gonna bow down. I'm not gonna kiss their butt. I'm not gonna give up any of my rights, including a right to be secure in my persons and effects and papers. I'm not gonna tell them I have a handgun out of fear that they're gonna go ballistic. Some people may take a different course of action, but that's just me. Now, the second scenario has to do with whether or not one has a concealed handgun license. If you have a concealed handgun license and you're in the car and you have the handgun with you and you have the license on you, if you get pulled over, you're required by law to tell the officer that you have a handgun. So why in the world anyone would want a concealed carry license in this state, I have no idea. Because you're required to tell the police officer if you have one. That is, if you have the concealed license on you, it's convoluted. If you don't have the concealed handgun license on you, and you have the concealed handgun, well, then you have the right to carry and as part of right to travel, just like any other person. And if you get pulled over, then you don't have to tell the officer that you have a handgun, even though you have a license, as long as the license isn't on you. But if you have a license with you and you have the handgun with you, then you have to tell the officer that you have the handgun. All right. Now, see, here's the thing. This is the way I see handgun licenses, at least in this state. There's really just about no reason for one, because you're allowed, the right to carry while traveling is enumerated in statute, period. So that means you can be on the road with the handgun in the car, loaded on your body, and you don't need a license. All right? If you're on private property, you don't need a license. Well, think about it, folks. Most of the time, you're on your own private property when you've got the handgun. You get in the car, you go somewhere, you don't need a license, you end up somewhere else that's private property, you don't need a license, okay? The only time you actually, quote-unquote, need a license, according to statute in this state, is if you are on public property, not in your car. That means walking down the street, okay? Or if you want to bring a handgun into an establishment where normally a license is required, like a bar, okay, that sells alcohol, okay, or some other establishment that sells alcohol, like a convenience store or something like that. Even though those are private property, according to, the law, you're supposed to have a license if you want to carry firearms into that type of establishment. And I think that's totally ridiculous because it's private property, but that's the way it is. So as long as you're not going into an establishment that sells alcohol, and as long as you're not walking down the street, you don't need a handgun license in this state. So I don't know why anyone want one, unless they just really wanted to have one in order to be quote-unquote lawful while going into an establishment that sells liquor, okay? Or to actually walk down the sidewalk with one, quote-unquote, lawfully. And I think that that's a totally ridiculous law anyway, because we have a right to bear arms no matter what, period. But it's, according to statute, that's the deal as far as traveling and a handgun in a car. Okay, now, it's going to be different in every state. Dean is in Wisconsin, but that's the way it is here in Texas. So, Dean, you may want to study the statutes in your state, but honestly, if you have right to travel enumerated in statute as far as having it in your car, there's really very few instances where you would actually lawfully be required to have a handgun license. Hardly any in Texas, only if you're on public property. That means like in the park, okay, or walking down the sidewalk, or, public property, a public building, all right, or if you're going to go into, a place that sells liquor, or I guess, some public establishments like schools, no weapons are banned unless you're licensed and stuff like that. So unless you want to go to a school, go pick up your kids and drive into the parking lot of elementary school or high school or something like that, or if you want to go to a place that sells liquor, or if you want to walk down the street, or if you want to be in the park or something like that, then you're supposed to technically required to have a handgun license. Otherwise, you don't need one. And I don't think you need one anyway. So that's my take on it. Dean, does that make sense?
Yes, Deborah. That answers my question.
You just have to look up the laws in your state.
Mm-hmm. Okay, then.
Okay.
Okay, Dean, do you have a handgun license now?
Yes, they just passed a law back in November last year. And
that says what? That you can't even have it in your car?
Yes, you can have it in your car. We always had an open carry law here, but not a concealed carry. But when it changed to concealed carry, it also gave you permission to carry in your car in a glove box.
Without a license?
Without a license.
Okay, so that's the same thing here in Texas.
Did you say you had open carry? Did they stop open carry in Wisconsin?
No, it's still that's
so you can strap a 6-gun on your hip.
As long as you're not within knowingly 1,000 feet of a schoolyard.
Well, see, and open carry really is the way to go anyway. And Texas is one of the few states that does not allow open carry, and I think that is totally ridiculous. And people need to be screaming and crying bloody murder over that.
Yeah. But I'm in Milwaukee, and I've personally, before it went into effect, I open carried, and each time I got a ride home. They didn't keep my gun. They just took it while they was transporting me to my home because I was walking.
Well, you could sue them for that, okay? If you didn't want to go home, they don't need to be taking you home against your will. Okay, and in fact, the courts have been ruling consistently over and over and over that police cannot arrest people or take them home or give them a ride somewhere for open carry in states where open carry is legal. It's ridiculous. That's pure intimidation.
Well, the first instance, they used the premises. I was at a festival, an open street festival, where they served alcohol. Therefore, I can't. And at that time, you couldn't carry while in a place serving alcohol. So that was the excuse there. The second was that I was walking in the street, but the street I was surrounded by a park, and they said that was illegal in a park.
Okay, so they have some restrictions on open carry there.
Yeah.
Okay, well, anything else, Dean?
No, that answers my question.
Okay, thank you, Dean.
Thank you.
Okay, folks, we're going to break now. We're coming into our last half hour. We don't have any callers on the bridge, so if you'd like to call in, 512-646-1984. We'll be right back.
This is Building 7, a 47-story skyscraper that fell on the afternoon of September 11th.
The government says that fire brought it down. However, 1,500 architects and engineers concluded it was a controlled demolition.
Over 6,000 of my fellow service members have given their lives.
Thousands of my fellow first responders are dying.
I'm not a conspiracy theorist.
I'm a structural engineer.
I'm a New York City correction officer.
I'm an Air Force pilot.
I'm a father who lost his son.
We're Americans, and we deserve the truth.
Go to rememberbuilding7.org today.
The Rule of Law Radio Network is proud to present a due process of law seminar hosted by our own Eddie Craig. Eddie is a former Nacogdoches Sheriff's deputy, and for the past 21 years he's been studying the due process of law and now offers his knowledge to you at a seminar every Sunday from 2 o'clock to 5 o'clock at Brave New Books, located at 1904 Guadalupe Street. Admission is $20, so please make plans to come by and sit with Eddie and learn for yourself what the true intent of law really is.
At hempusa.org, we offer chemical-free products to people around the world, detoxifying, self-healing, while rebuilding the immune system. We urge our listeners to please consider our largest-selling product, Micro Plant Powder. Our Micro Plant Powder is rich in iodine, probiotics, zinc, and silica to help rebuild the immune system and to create a healthy stomach flora. Micro Plant Powder is excellent for daily intake and is perfect to add to your storage shelter. We urge our listeners to please visit us at hempusa.org. And remember, all of our products are chemical-free and healthy to eat. We constantly strive to give you the best service, highest quality, and rapid shipping anywhere. And we offer free shipping on orders over $95 in the U.S. Please visit us at hempusa.org or call 908-691-2608. That's 908-691-2608. See what our powders, seeds, and oil can do for you at hempusa.org.
You are listening to the Logos Radio Network. LogosRadioNetwork.com.
Yeah, and who you want to chip? Who you take me for? Frito-Lay? Who you want chip? Me no Frito-Lay. You can't chip me. All I'm saying, don't let them chip you in the morning, chip you in the evening, put a chip in your body. And anyway you go computer ready, you can't hide me say from nobody. When me say, chip in your mom, chip in your daddy, chip in your grandpa and the grandme, chip in me, chip in your baby, chip in your family, whole family, chip in your dog and the cat around we, chip in the beef and you still go eat it, chip in the fish, them all in the sea, chip in the shark and the wheel around me. You know see mankind, can't chip crazy. Them the kind of thing, man, they want to read it. Social security, them go tell me. Number with them give me, them repeat up, you see. I'm chip you in the morning, chip you in the evening, chip you all at dinner time. Experiment on mankind, but man, you know, say them lie. Well, we don't want to.
Okay, folks, we are back. This is The Rule of Law. Randy Kelton, Eddie Craig, and Deborah Stevens. And we do have a couple of callers on the board. But, folks, before we go to the calls, I would like to take this opportunity to plug our sponsors. I'm going to try to start getting this done every show to try to make sure that we get, our listeners notified here that freedom isn't free and that we do have to pay for this radio show. And, folks, we do need your help. We are listener supported. And most of our sponsors do not pay us flat rate advertising. It's mostly all commission-based sales. And so, folks, if you don't support our sponsors, then we don't get credit. We don't get paid unless you visit our sponsors and frequent their business and employ their services. So I'd like to take this opportunity to ask the listeners to please check out our sponsors. We've got some really great products here. We are now a distributor, I'm talking and reading at the same time, of One World Way. For folks out there who have tried One World Way before, who are already taking it, please consider getting it through us. It's the same One World Way that you get from Synergistic Company, except we are a distributor. So it's the same stuff. It's wonderful stuff. It's made from organic raw milk, no pasteurization. It's cold processed, the extraction of the whey. And as people know, I mean, it helps you eliminate radioactive fallout from the body, maintain energy levels, younger looking skin, anti-aging effects. It's one of the top products on the market that will help your body produce glutathione. All right, glutathione is one of the king antioxidants that your body makes it. You can't take a glutathione supplement. It don't work that way. Your intestine, the stomach acids will destroy it. Your body has to make it, just like your body has to make catalase. That's another enzyme that helps keep your hair from going gray. You can improve your catalase production by eating foods that are high in polyphenols, things like that. Okay, just like collagen. You can't take a collagen supplement. Your body has to make it. Okay, and so you want to eat foods that promote the production of these types of, these products in your body, the catalase, the collagen, the glutathione. One World Way will help with all of those things. One World Way is very high in protein. It will definitely aid in your body's production of collagen. And it will certainly aid in the body's production of glutathione. So please try it for folks who work out a lot. Definitely, it will help your workouts. It'll give you more energy, help you maintain lean muscle mass, and all these sorts of things. We've got A Noble Lie, a film that I helped to co-produce. I was the senior audio engineer on that film. So please get A Noble Lie. It's about the Oklahoma City bombing, what really happened in Oklahoma City, told by witnesses, victims, survivors of the bombing, investigators of the bombing, the bombing commission, people who are on the Charles Key, the Oklahoma City bombing commission investigation committee. Excellent film, the first of its kind, very professional production. So please consider getting that. You can see all these sponsors on logosradionetwork.com by clicking on the sponsors link. Of course, the longevity products. Everyone's raging about them. I'm raging about them. They're absolutely amazing. Dr. Wallach, he has multiple degrees, medical degrees, and he has basically on record been able to cure over 900 diseases in animals by nutrition. 900 diseases in animals. Almost every disease known to mankind in both humans and animals are all caused by nutritional deficiencies, mainly minerals. So please consider the longevity products. Get on the Beyond Tangy Tangerine. If you want to make a business out of it, you can become a distributor. Go to logosradionetwork.com. Click on the Tangy Tangerine banner, and you can sign up. Sign up as a preferred customer to get wholesale prices. Sign up as a distributor to build a business. And if you want to build a business, we will get in contact with you about that as well. The Michael Mirus method, how to stop debt collectors in their tracks. Even if they have a judgment against you, even if they've sued you, this is the way to go. 100% track record. Every listener that has got the Michael Mirus method has been able to turn the tables on the debt collectors and get them to pay you to go away. It's a in the box, lock and key method. It works because it's all about violations of civil rights laws, FDCPA and FCRA. So please consider getting the Michael Mirus method. Jurisdictionary, the nuts and bolts, the ABCs of the court system, especially the federal civil court system, how to win your case without a lawyer, and if you have a lawyer, how to control your lawyer. Of course, Freedom Telephones, Capital Coin and Bullion, they ship worldwide. You don't just have to be in Austin. And of course, Jerry Stevens Piano Service if you're within a 90-mile radius of Austin and you need your piano tuned or worked on. So, folks, please support our sponsors. We need your help to stay on the air. We need your help to be able to improve. I want to be able to hire a staff. I want to be able to hire more producers so we can put more shows on the air. Right now, we're basically only on in the evenings, on weeknights. We have a couple of shows on the weekends, on Sundays. I just added a new show on Sunday afternoon, The Vaccine Myth. an issue of trust. Excellent show about the reality of vaccines. That's at 2 p.m. on Sundays. Of course, Gary Johnson, Live and Let Live, at 8 p.m. on Sunday. But I'm relying on volunteers right now. I can't pay anyone, and so I can't add any more shows. I can't increase the programming. I can't launch a marketing and promotion campaign to try to increase the spread, the reach of the network until I get some capital, until I can hire some people to help me. So, folks, we are dependent on you. We really are. Please support our sponsors. Please, if you can, if you feel to donate to the network to help increase this operation. We're going to be doing a fundraiser in another month or so to try to raise funds for operating expenses towards the end of the year to give ourselves a little bit of a breather and a push towards the end of the year. I'd like to purchase some new equipment so that we can bring you a better service, better product, and just make everything overall better. So that's the deal. Please send donations. Please support our sponsors, especially the longevity products, and one more way. Okay. With that, we are going to go ahead, Randy.
And whatever you do, don't forget Randy's Beer Fund.
Randy's Beer Fund, indeed. Okay, and also Eddie's Traffic Seminar. That's another way you can support this network. One of the biggest ways is purchase Eddie's Traffic Seminar. It teaches you how to dissect the law in any state. In this state, it uses the Texas Transportation Code as the example, but if you're in another state, it teaches you how to read the law and how to interpret it and how to deal with it, and it's also got the court documents. Very important, and updates are coming. All right, we're going now to Richard in Texas. Richard, thank you for calling in. What is your question or comment tonight?
Hi. First, I just wanted to say I love you guys. You're absolutely awesome.
Oh, thanks, Richard.
The one question I had, though, I just kind of wanted to clear up. A little while ago, y'all were talking about concealed carry and, where you can and can't carry and things like that. And I heard you guys say that, you say that that you could actually carry in, like, places where they sell alcohol and stuff like that if you have a concealed carry license.
Pretty much. If you look on, there's a sign on the door of every bar, every restaurant that sells alcohol. It says unlicensed possession of firearms on this premise is prohibited by law, blah, 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 and it cites the statute. Now, I've looked up the statute, so if you got a license, that means it's okay. That's part of the concealed handgun license. I've read the statute.
I'm going to have to look that up again, though, because I read because when I was looking into it and I read the statute, it like lists off a bunch of places where you can't carry, even if you do, with the license.
No, you cannot carry it into a bar, but you can carry it into a liquor store or someplace that sells liquor.
Okay. All right. That's where I was. Okay. All right, cool.
You cannot carry it into a place where alcohol is readily consumed.
Gotcha. Okay. That's what I thought. All righty. I guess
I think there are different levels of licenses, too. Where you can carry into a place that is consumed, but the standard one sure. that's true.
Yeah, I'm sure. Well, for instance, if you're a police officer,
right?
So, but anyway, I guess that's all I had.
Okay. Thanks, Richard.
That was cool.
Okay.
Bye.
Okay, we've got Jason in Texas. Jason, thanks for calling in. What is on your mind tonight?
Well, I had a couple of things. Thanks for taking my call. Actually, both of them relate to your past two callers. One is, and I agree with you, Deborah, about having a concealed handgun license. That it's actually case law of Murdoch versus Pennsylvania that a state cannot. Now we all know they do it. I guess I'll catch you on the other side.
Quickly, they cannot what?
Issue a license and a fee for a secured constitutional right. That's your license or your right to travel, your right to, Second Amendment right to bear arms.
Okay, all right. Let's talk about that some more on the other side. We're going to break. Stay right there, Jason. We also have Chris. We'll be right back. This is The Rule of Law.
It is so enlightening to listen to 90.1 FM, but finding things on the internet isn't so easy, and neither is finding like-minded people to share it with.
Oh, well, I guess you haven't heard of Brave New Books then.
Brave New Books?
Yes, Brave New Books has all the books and DVDs you're looking for by authors like Alex Jones, Ron Paul, and G. Edward Griffin. They even stock Interfood, Berkey products, and Calvin soaps.
There's no way a place like that exists.
Go check it out for yourself. It's downtown at 1904 Guadalupe Street, just south of UT.
By UT, there's never anywhere to park down there.
Actually, they now offer a free hour of parking for paying customers at the 500 MLK parking facility, just behind the bookstore.
It does exist. But when are they open?
Monday through Saturday, 11 a.m. to 9 p.m. and 1 to 6 p.m. on Sundays. So give them a call at 512-480-2503 or check out their events page at bravenewbookstore.com.
Are you the plaintiff or defendant in a lawsuit? Win your case without an attorney with Jurisdictionary, the affordable, easy-to-understand 4-CD course that will show you how in 24 hours, step by step. If you have a lawyer, know what your lawyer should be doing. If you don't have a lawyer, know what you should do for yourself. Thousands have won with our step-by-step course, and now you can too. Jurisdictionary was created by a licensed attorney with 22 years of case-winning experience. Even if you're not in a lawsuit, you can learn what everyone should understand about the principles and practices that control our American courts. You'll receive our audio classroom, video seminar, tutorials, forms for civil cases, pro se tactics, and much more. Please visit ruleoflawradio.com and click on the banner or call toll-free 866-LAW-EASY.
Hello? Oh man, in jail? You got busted, man? Oh man, I'm broke, dude. Some things in this world I will never understand. Some things I realize fully. Somebody's gonna police that policeman. Somebody's gonna police the bully. There's always a room at the top of the hill. I hear through the grapevine and it's loneliness too. They're wishing it was more than a position to fill. They know that if they don't do it, somebody will. Some things in this world will never understand. Some things I realize fully. Somebody's gonna police that policeman. Somebody's gonna bully the bully. I know they will.
Okay, folks, we are back.
They're gonna put the
This is our final segment. We have Jason and Chris. We're going to bring Jason back up on the line. Okay, Jason, please continue about the court cases.
Thank you, Deborah. I was just saying that, our ignorance that we need all these licenses to enjoy our rights. And there's the case law of Murdoch versus Pennsylvania that a state cannot issue a license and a fee for someone to enjoy a secured constitutional right. And that, the driver's license, and all we want to do is travel, and then the CHL, concealed handgun license, just to enjoy a Second Amendment constitutional right. And also your last caller, as far as going into a place that sells beer where you can, a gas station where you can buy a six-pack versus going into a bar, my understanding, and like you mentioned earlier, it varies state to state, but here in Texas, the sign they'll put up with the a pistol with the circle and the line across it, that's one thing. If you have a CHL, you can ignore that. But if they have a sign and in big letters it says 51%, that means more of the revenue comes from alcohol consumption than non-alcohol consumption. And if you see a 51% in Texas, under the law, you're not, even with the CHL, you're not supposed to bring your firearm in there. So a place that sells sells alcohol, or a Chili's, even though they sell it, that's not their main source of revenue. Whereas a dive bar or a sports bar or a pool hall, that's their main revenue. And so there's a difference there between a place that sells it versus a place that sells it, but it's not the major portion of their revenue versus the place that most of the revenue is alcohol. If you see the handgun with the line across it, you can, if you have a CHL, you can ignore that. If you see the 51%, then you don't need to bring your, under the law, you don't need to bring your firearm in there.
All right, thank you, Jason. That clarifies things, because I had read before, in some places before in the statute that if you had the CHL, you could bring it into places that actually serve alcohol. So there was a little bit of confusion there. Thank you for clearing that up.
Right. Yeah, there's a difference. I mean, the two different places that serve it, it's a matter of how much of that revenue it is. If it's a place where all there is a bar and some pool tables, they'll have a 51% sign.
And that is just so ridiculous, because how much money, what percentage they make off of alcohol, what does that have to do with my Second Amendment right? Come on.
Deborah, I agree with you. I agree with you, but, it is what it is. But I just wanted to...
I think it kind of goes to hold my beer and watch this.
Yeah, whatever.
We tend to not have all of our capacities when we are drinking.
No, that is ridiculous. That is ridiculous.
That is not ridiculous.
And even if people have a concealed handgun license, they're much more likely to not pull a hold my beer and watch this, okay? Because they're trained more in firearm usage. And Randy, you're the one that even always loves to tell the story about how when you were in Southeast Asia, about all the barroom brawls amongst the people in the military and the locals, and everybody was armed to the hilt and had, shooters, handguns on both hips, and throwing each other through the plate glass windows and such, and not one person would ever dare to pull their weapon out on anyone, even in the midst of all the barroom brawls. So I don't believe it for a second. I don't believe it for a second.
Yeah, I agree. If everyone knew that everyone else was carrying, things would be a lot more peaceful. All this business of trying to take everyone's, confiscation of weapons and all that. Recently there was the incident with the Batman movie. I remember maybe 15 years ago, I was at a movie theater with some friends and family in Dallas, and some of my family had flown in from Alaska, and someone, as a joke, during the previews, someone walked in and said, hey, this is a stick-up, and they laughed, and everybody laughed, and the people I was sitting with said, if that would not happen in Alaska, because he would have known walking in, he would have dozens of guns pointed at him. So the whole confiscation, the quote-unquote bad guys are going to have them. So, Deborah, I'm with you. I want mine. I want you to have yours. I want everybody to have one. And I think we would all be a little more respectful to each other.
Yeah, we'd all be a lot more safe, too. And that whole Batman shooting thing, that is such a false flag up. I mean, that's old news. We have been over that over and over and over again, and Alex Jones has been over and over again. I mean, it's ridiculous. That guy, he was a medical student that was co-opted into a federal military psychiatric operation. He was brainwashed. He was another Timothy McVeigh, and now it's looking like he didn't even do the shooting. There were multiple shooters, and that has come out. Witnesses have come out with affidavits. It's even been on the news. And also, where did it happen? Take a big guess. In a gun-free zone. Hasn't anybody ever noticed how, all of these shootings that are staged, they're always in a gun-free zone? Well, you know why? Because if it was not a gun-free zone, there would be citizens carrying guns, and they would stop the government patsy, and they can't have that on the news. They can't have it come out on the news that, citizen saves the day by taking down the armed crazy man. No, they have to have their government patsy. They got to roll him out. He's all drooling and everything. He didn't even know what he did. He didn't even do it. I don't even think he had anything to do with it. There were other shooters. I mean, that's very clear. But anyway, thank you, Jason. We appreciate that.
Yeah, and since that one, and it hasn't been long. It's been a month, 6 weeks. After that one, there was one a week later at Texas A&M, and then there was one up at Muslim, or I don't want to mispronounce it. Played
the Sheik shooting. Yeah.
Thank you. Then there was one in New York, and then there was one at a doctor's office, and the mainstream government-controlled media keeps throwing it at us of, oh, look at all the gun problems there are, and I think I've heard it mentioned in different shows, and this one, that there's a tipping point where people just aren't buying it anymore. I think Randy mentioned, 20% of the cases now are in Texas are pro se, where people just aren't buying the fraud and BS anymore.
Right, exactly.
Right. And after the shooting in Colorado, gun sales increased tremendously. It is the American culture where most every adult male was sitting there thinking, if I'd have been in there with a pistol, that Bubba would have had himself a gunfight.
Yeah, actually, the one thing we can thank Obama for is he's been the best gun salesman ever in the history of this country.
Well, guys,
if they're staging these kinds of acts in order to propose gun control,
it ain't going to work. No, I
don't think about it that way.
And I mispronounced it. It was the Sikh shooting. I had a little tongue twister there. All right, thank you, Jason.
Thank you.
Okay. All right, we've got a few minutes left. We're going out to Chris in Texas. Chris, thank you for calling in. What is on your mind tonight?
Hey, Deborah, I called about something else, but what y'all are talking about just got me going with about back when we had the shooting in Killeen at it was a restaurant down there, Luby's in Killeen.
Right.
And I don't remember if it was the late 80s or the early 90s when the McDonald's incident happened, where the guy went in. But one of those, somebody shot the guy who was doing the shooting, if I remember correctly. And it's been a long time, but...
Well, there was an incident in Dallas the day the concealed carry law went into effect. Central Expressway, Lover's Lane, traffic backed up. Guy came down from the side, ran up to a SUV, jerked the door open, grabbed a woman by her hair, and threw her out in the street. And the guy behind her dropped him in his tracks. The very day. Valley View Mall guy chases his girlfriend down the sidewalk, shoots her in the back of the head, jumps in his car. The Xerox sales killed him, shot him through the leg and blew out his femur. He was apparently trying to kill the motor, but it didn't account for acceleration. They asked him for 2 weeks to come in, whoever did that, and bring their gun in. The Xerox salesman finally shows up, gives them the .44 mag. They check ballistics. Yep, that's the one that killed him, all right. Gave it back to him, sent him home. That's the way it ought to be. If everybody had pistols, this problem would go away. Those guys who get drunk and think they put a pair of boxing gloves in every drink, if everybody's got a pistol, his thinking will change even when he's drunk. So, yeah, I agree with you, Deborah. We have that problem now, but if everybody had a gun, that problem would stop.
Or at least if everybody thought that everyone else had a gun.
An armed society is a polite society.
And it's a safe society, too.
Safe society, yes.
Absolutely. 99% of us are the good guys.
That's right.
Amen.
All right. Thanks, Chris.
Thank you.
All right, folks, this has been another episode of the Rule of Law, ruleoflawradio.com and logosradionetwork.com. I am Deborah Stevens here with Randy Kelton, Eddie Craig. Tomorrow night is our Friday 4-hour info marathon, so please join us. Eddie, Randy, y'all have any closing comments?
No, ma'am, but thanks for listening, folks.
Get armed, get safe.
Get armed, get safe. You heard it from Randy.
Yeah, I don't carry guns. I've been on the sharp end too much, but I want everybody else to have one to protect me.
and especially protect Randy's beer fund, right, Randy?
Absolutely. Never forget Randy's beer fund.
Randy's beer fund. Okay.
Thank you. Thank you all for listening. We'll be back tomorrow night. We'll be looking forward.
Bibles for America is offering absolutely free a unique study Bible called the New Testament Recovery Version. The New Testament Recovery Version has over 9,000 footnotes that explain what the Bible says, verse by verse, helping you to know God. and to know the meaning of life. Order your free copy today from Bibles for America. Call us toll-free at 888-551-0102 or visit us online at bfa.org. This translation is highly accurate, and it comes with over 13,000 cross-references, plus charts and maps and an outline for every book of the Bible. This is truly a Bible you can understand. To get your free copy of the New Testament Recovery Version, call us toll-free at 888-551-0102. That's 888-551-0102. Or visit us online at bfa.org.
You're listening to the Logos Radio Network at logosradionetwork.com.